So as you may have seen, the 20th anniversary of World of Warcraft is bringing with it a ton of new cosmetics, the most exciting of which being the reworks of the tier 2 class sets. And all of these new cosmetics are going to be purchased with the 20th anniversary specific currency called the Bronze Celebration tokens. But that also means that there's going to be a ton of items to use all of these currencies on, and I know a lot of people are going to want to be purchasing all of the reworked tier sets. So in this video, I want to go over all of the ways we know of to earn these new tokens and what I think is going to be the best way to ensure you earn all of these new cosmetics. Now keep in mind, we don't have all of the information on all of the different pieces of content that you'll be able to earn these tokens from. So specifically things like the world bosses that are coming with the 20th anniversary, the new Blackrock Depths raid, the new Gates of Ahn'Qiraj 20-person scenario, all of those presumably will give you tokens for just completing them or killing bosses in the raid, but we are not 100% certain on that because there hasn't been a lot of testing on them, and even if there was a lot of testing on them, we don't know if they are or aren't meant to give those tokens. Now we can infer that most of this content should also be giving you additional tokens on top of that, but we do know you'll be able to get a lot of tokens from other content. Now outside of potentially obtaining tokens from the content we just went over, the best way to obtain as many tokens as possible is just going to be to play a bunch of different alts, because there's going to be some new daily and weekly quests specific to the 20th anniversary that will give you tokens, and a lot of the weekly quests we already have will also be giving us tokens. And it seems that most, if not all of these, will be giving tokens on every character you do them on. So starting off, most of the weekly quests in the War Within will also be giving you tokens, so picking up those weekly quests you can find in Dornegal, and even things like picking up the 10 wax and turning that in the Ringing Deeps, all of those weekly quests will now also be giving you some amount of these tokens, and it seems you'll be able to go do those on any amount of characters that you want. Now specifically with the War Within weeklies, those are mostly things for level 80 characters, so you'll need a bunch of level 80s to obtain it from that. But it seems that most of the daily and weekly quests, specifically coming with the 20th anniversary, will be able to be done on much lower level characters. I think most of them are tagged at either being level 10 or 20 all the way up to 80, so if you have a bunch of low level characters, you could potentially bring all of them to the 20th anniversary content and just stack up tokens to a ridiculous degree. And keep in mind that with warbands, you'll be able to just freely trade these tokens between any characters you want, so you could do all of this content on a bunch of different characters and just send it all over to one character and purchase all of the cosmetics. And most of the 20th anniversary specific dailies or weeklies will just be obtained outside the Caverns of Time, so they're setting up the big 20th anniversary fair with all the different little events. There'll be a bunch of daily or weekly quests obtained there, and most of those are what will be giving you a bunch more of these tokens. And it seems that on a weekly basis, you'll be able to obtain 45 of these tokens just from the weekly quests in front of the Caverns of Time. And on top of that, they may also be giving out tokens for all of the random events you can find at the Caverns of Time event. Like there's a mount competition, a transmog competition, and just a bunch of other random little events. And I think these events cycle every hour, so at the top of every hour, one of these events will start. Those may potentially be giving you some additional tokens as well, either every time you do them, or more than likely the first one you do every day or every week or something could be giving you some more tokens. Now this may sound like there's a ton of different ways to get a lot of tokens, but you are going to need them. More specifically, you're going to need them if you want to obtain all of the reworked tier 2 sets, because not only is there reworks of all the tier 2 sets, but every class that didn't exist back then is also getting their own tier set here. And all of those tier sets at a baseline cost 80 tokens, which would be a little over 1,000 tokens. But there is also an achievement called Upgraded Apparel, where when you purchase any one of these tier sets, it lowers the cost of purchasing all of the other ones. And it's also pretty nice. You can purchase every single one of these sets on one character. So similar to WoW Remix, so where you could purchase a lot of the cosmetics on one character and learn them all, even though you wouldn't be able to use them all on that character, you can do a similar thing here. Now with this achievement, we don't know how much this lowers the cost, and we don't also know if this achievement stacks, because they've actually been doing that with some other things. Like if you level up one character to 80 in the War Within, you'll get an achievement that gives you 5% increased experience for all other characters on your warband, and that stacks up to 5 times. But there's currently no information showing that this achievement stacks, so it seems like it's just one cost reduction, but we don't know what that cost reduction actually is. It could potentially be halving the price of all the others, or maybe it could just reduce the cost of like 5 on all of the other sets. But if you're someone that wants to acquire all 13 of these class sets, it'll still take a lot of tokens. And on top of that, there's still a bunch of other rewards that are much less expensive. So you have a bunch of the mounts and pets from previous anniversary events. You can go purchase all of those, cost 10 tokens a piece. Then you also have a bunch of the new cosmetics, specifically the service rewards that have been added in with this event. So those are real world items that employees of Blizzard get for working there for a certain amount of time, like a sword, a shield, and things like that. They've added those into the game, and those all seem to cost 10 tokens as well. So it seems like every other item besides the tier sets that you can buy cost 10 tokens. So those are going to be substantially cheaper than purchasing all of the tier sets, but the tier sets are also the things that seem to be the most sought after. And keep in mind, the 20th anniversary is going to last for over 2 months. It sounds like it'll probably last for 2.5 months, somewhere around there. So you'll still have quite a long time to obtain all of these tokens. But if you want to make obtaining all these tokens and doing these daily and weekly quests as easy as possible, I would recommend just get more characters up to level 80 before the 20th anniversary starts. And it seems like it's going to start early on in November, because the more level 80s you have, the more potential quests you can go complete to get more tokens, because you'll have more of the weekly quests in the War Within to complete, and then that'll just generally make it easier to also complete the 20th anniversary specific dailies or weeklies. And then, like mentioned, on top of that, you could potentially be getting tokens from doing a lot of the other content. One of the big ones where I think they're probably going to give you more tokens is doing the Blackrock Depths raid, where they're kind of redoing Blackrock Depths, turning it into a raid. You'll be able to do it up to heroic difficulty, so there'll actually be good loot in there as well. So if you have any other specs or classes you want to play, I would also recommend getting those characters up to 80 for the 20th anniversary, because then you can also go complete the raid on a weekly basis and gear that character up in potentially heroic gear as well. But that's all I want to go over, so thanks for watching.